Welcome to the Morning Drifts. My name is Simba Kiage. It is Friday, meaning we are not alone in the studio. And by saying we, I mean there are other gentlemen who are joining us this morning on the Morning Drift. Let me first start with the Amwai brand. By the way, somebody said that should be your handle on Twitter.
The Amwai brand?
Yes.
Wow, that sounds good.
Fantastic, isn't it?
We will actually go with that.
They said because then it is Amwai brand or brand Amwai, and then they said, then why can't you change it to the Amwai brand on Twitter?
That works.
It's going to work, isn't it? And you're going to pay for that consultation.
No.
Anyway, we do have the man Amwai brand with us this morning. Amwai brand, good morning.
I'm doing good, man.
Coffee, bro?
Huh?
Totally.
I'm doing okay. I can't complain this morning.
Yeah.
Woke up a little bit late, but here we are.
Ah, fantastic. Okay, on the other side, he's not going to speak, but you're going to see him. We do have DJ Bo9 is in the studio. By the way, here's the thing, Lonely Friday, and that guy has an amazing lineup of the music that we're going to listen to this morning, especially after we are done with our studio conversations. By the way, thank you very much for deciding to begin your day with us right here on our Lookuptv, the Morning Drift. And remember, you can be part and parcel of these conversations online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Simba, and that man is Amwai Brian. That's it. Yeah. I'm now, so I want to say the Amwai.
Next week, I think you're going to change it to the Amwai brand.
Amwai brand. Soon to be, isn't it? And by the way, I will send you the M-Pesa number of the person who said, why can't you tell him to change it to the Amwai brand? Anyway, it is 8 minutes past 9. Means that we have to take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back then, we shall be taking them straight to the dailies this morning. So we got to tell you exactly what it is that you're waking up to in as much as the headlines are concerned once we come back. Be a part and parcel of this conversation. You know what to do at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. But I gotta say, this is Friday. Lazima nisalimie some of the guys that I met yesterday in Juja. Was there in the afternoon, trying to do something around the Juja bus stop at around 3:30. And I know they're watching, and they told me they'll be watching this morning from 9 a.m. So there's this guy called Kiani. Yeah, what's up, Kiani? Good morning, sir. How are you doing? I wish you the very best today. The guys, do you know Kamagera? Do you know what Kamagera is? Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Kiani is a Kamagera at the Juja bus stop. And I do know the driver of KDH. No, not KDH. KDC. Toyota Nissan Ashak. By the way, I've never seen... Now, Chris, listen. Chris is the director today. There's a Toyota Hiace that is doing right now, currently the mileage is at 763,137 on a single engine. Operating in Nairobi right now. I took a shot. I'll show you after this. The driver is called John. John, good morning. You also said you'll be watching this morning. But anyway, those are the guys who normally watch us here on Lookuptv. Thank you very much. Amwai, I know you do have the Daily Nation. Yep. Let's get into it.
All right, now the top story on the Daily Nation today, Simba, is MCAs now want their pay tripled. Listen. So it is a story on page 4 and 5, and says an MCA will earn close to 400,000 besides being awarded a development budget if proposals by the County Assemblies Forum are adopted. Now, the clamor for a pay rise by the 2,100 MCAs coming on the back of similar demands by 416 members of parliament will only worsen the country's wage bill crisis at a time limited public resources are also being gobbled up by repayment by a choking public debt. This is the thing. Our members of parliament and our members of county assembly are at it again in terms of demanding more pay. They feel like they are working, they work quite a lot, so why don't we appreciate them when it comes to that? What's your take on that?
Amwai, what is really going on? And I will ask you this. Every time we put leaders in the house, I will tell you exactly what's going on. The other day we saw Nairobi County MCAs fight with the judiciary over parking slots in the CBD. Fine, you put down on the side. And then you see what the members of parliament are doing. They're pushing for the CDF kitty. It has not been cancelled. Some monies that can be reappropriated, and still we do have that function. According to law, a member of parliament is only supposed to debate on issues to do with money, not control accounts.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and the code has been quite clear on that. Now, MCS, by the way, who in the last government, if you remember, they fought to get the perks that they have right now, the car grants and proper pay and single allowances. Now, they're back again saying that we need our salaries tripled.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So right now they're earning close to 144,000. If they get what they want, then they'll be earning close to 400,000.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? At this time, Amwai, we were saying that counties are struggling to collect money. At this time, we were saying that inflation is skyrocketing. At this time, when, by the way, the national government is fleecing out hirings and even going for meetings in these posh hotels around the country has been put on a stop. Why do you think that you're special then to come in and ask for more money? What have you fixed? Amwai, they have not even spent 2 months in the office.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're just showing us exactly what they'll be doing all this time and what their priorities are, especially when it comes to matters governance. But that is the story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Something else that is being, given priority here on the Daily Nation is organ donation or theft. Family seeks answers on missing parts. Now, when the body of Amani Justin Luwali arrived in Kenya from Italy, it came with instructions from her in-laws for her family not to open the coffin, but to proceed with the burial. But how do we bury someone without confirming it was indeed her? They asked. Now, what they found, well, shocking. This is a story that we actually did run yesterday in our bulletins, whereby, she had been married to an Italian guy, and she happened to have died in Italy. And when she came back, the body was coming back to the country. Some of the body parts, she doesn't have the eyes. She's been, something to do with postmortem or something like that, operated on, and some of the body parts are not there. So questions were being asked exactly what happened to her daughter. And that family is actually seeking for justice, crying for justice, rather.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that's a story on page 12 of the Daily Nation.
With the warnings also, Amwai, of Kenyans who travel outside for work and all that. I saw a tweet about the prices of kidneys and hearts and all that in United Arab. Somebody saying, before you accept that job, think twice. Is it worth it? And we do hope that the new government is going to look into issues like this. Amwai, if you do that, now just put it into perspective, yeah? If that would happen to a US citizen, what would happen to this country?
We'll be having so many investigation officers actually,
with a lot of sanctions as well
Exactly.
pushed into these countries, isn't it?
So many things will be happening. And because I was asking this question yesterday, they're crying for justice, but is this justice going to come? Is this government going to take this matter seriously and actually pursue this and say, we are seeking justice for this particular family, these are Kenyans, this was a Kenyan daughter. What happened to her? We need to know exactly where are her eyes. What happened?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to talk about that. But anyway, Amwai, just hold on to that thought, yeah? Because on the Daily Nation, sorry, on the Standard.
On the Standard.
Yeah? Aman, DPP Haji is under fire over bungled Gachagua case. You don't know that?
Yeah.
And it's not just about that, because we've seen a lot of other cases that have been wiped off the face of the courts just because the main prosecutor, in the name of DPP Haji, decided to withdraw, citing lack of evidence. And if you listen to him talk about these cases before the new administration, you will say that he's a man who was quite convinced that he has cases he's pushing for. Yeah. Now, nothing. And by the way, Amwai, it was a 7 billion graft case.
Yeah, 7 billion graft case.
Somebody said, is it that we don't understand what a billion is because a billion is a million millions? Amwai, that means that you have to spend 1 million days to clear 1 billion if you're spending 1 million daily. And that means that it's going to take you upwards of 50 years if you want to spend 1 billion. Like, why did you wake up every morning and say, I'm going to spend 1 million today? It's going to take you upwards of 50 years to spend 1 billion.
You see, there's a journalist that did painted a picture on exactly what 1 billion is, and they're like, if you start arranging that money down, it to some extent it will cover the whole of this country, just an inch by inch by inch.
In a line.
So that's just how much that money is.
That's how much it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amwai, the level 5 hospitals in this country that the costing will be around 600 million to get them running and properly equipped. Yeah? But there's a 7 billion graph case, isn't it?
No,
It's gone out like that. How many schools are we going to build with 7 billion shillings?
Hello, Simba.
At a time when we're talking about CBC, some schools have never even seen what electricity is, isn't it? And then we're talking about
This is the thing.
7
You see,
billion.
now that you're dropping the case, who exactly gets to be held
That's
to account
it, isn't it?
when it comes to that? Do
That's
we
it,
get the
because-
money?
Yeah.
What happens?
The courts operate in a way when they say, if you waste the court's time, then you'll be in trouble. Yeah? I've seen that guy called Griff walk into the studio this morning. Griff, good morning. Will you spend 7 billion? Yeah? Anyway, telling you, anyway, another headline that you gotta look into this one is how there are now cracks that are rocking Uhuru and Raila party. If you want to be in that story, it's on page 6 of the Standard. But you think there are cracks in that party, or it's a party that has got no direction now after they lost the general election on August?
Well, it was a big party. It was a big coalition, rather. Then cracks were bound to happen. Sooner or later, it was bound to happen because there are these positions in Parliament that you need to share. But now, how do you make sure that everybody gets to be satisfied with how many people gets to be nominated in a certain committee or things like that?
Yeah.
Because you will find one party in the Azimio coalition has many members, and they say we are many and we are justified to demand more. And others say we want to be equal in this particular coalition. So what exactly happens when it comes to that? It's a little bit tricky to some extent. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, so I want to read in that story again on the family that is in shock of a body with missing organs. You can read it on page 3 of the Standards. And it's interesting. I gotta show you something. Amwai, do you remember the pals by the Standard?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? It's still going on, by the way. Do you remember Insider?
I do remember that.
Amwai, were you ever featured on the Insider?
No, I was never featured, but I know a friend of mine that was featured.
Wait,
I was in school. I was in school then.
Yeah, I gotta ask
then
you.
we just grabbed one and damn, I looked
That's
at
my
it and
friend.
like, this is my friend.
Just
We
with
went
the-
to primary school together. How?
Yeah.
They're making it in life. Look at me. Things like that.
Used to be the epitome of high school coverage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It needs to come back, though. Used to be a very good publication. I used to wait for it. Yeah. Were you in drama?
In drama? Yes, I was in
Oh,
drama.
you are
I
in
was
drama?
in drama. I was in music.
Amwai, that means you must have been a bad performer then, because if you were in drama for 3 years or 4 years in high school, at one point, Amwai, you had to appear on the Insider. That means that probably you used to crash out on the...
Let's just put it like this. Probably the school I went to was not there. Probably not in the limelight to,
But okay,
to feature actually.
let me make it a bit
But we
easy.
got to the nationals to some
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
Tukaibiwa.
Up. Whoa, that's how it's going to be. Anyway, you want to read more into some of the stories that we're talking about here with Amwai Brown, you can go grab yourself a copy of your dailies this morning so you can actually get to read further into it. Also, join us on Lookuptv as we count down to the World Cup. News is that Cristiano Ronaldo is actually been included in the Portugal squad, so now he's gone to his 5th World Cup. I don't know what Man United fans will feel about that because they've not been letting him play. Let's say he performs in the national team in the next 2 weeks and then we come and question whether it is Man United that is the problem. Anyway, guess what? We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, let's see what it is you're talking about online in as much as your trends are concerned as well. We gotta start like that though, by the way, because the story that you were telling me just before Chris brought us back on air, it's something that we gotta talk about because that is exactly what's trending on insecurity. I don't know whether our tweet center is ready. If it is ready, then I would like to read for you this tweet by Alinur Mohammed, all right, who's saying there's a high increase of insecurity in Nairobi, killer thugs are stealing in broad daylight, and if you refuse to cooperate, they stab or shoot you without a second thought. And then he goes on to say, allegedly, Kiage is full of patients with stab wounds from mugging incidents in Nairobi and its environs. Then he goes and says, stay safe. And Amwai, you just been telling me that a family in Kitengela, isn't it? Yeah.
There's this story that actually is running right now, making rounds, and they're saying there are a group of thugs in Kitengela that when they come to your house, they demand you cook for them first. Well, it's chicken. They choose exactly what they want to eat. They have the time to sit down, have you prepare food before they rob you and leave with, valuables and all that. So that just proves that there's a lot of insecurity in the country right now as we speak. And we saw some police officer from Nairobi actually downplaying that and saying that from October up to this particular time, only 9 cases have actually been reported. But in most cases, these things do happen. We just don't go to report them because to some extent you feel like even if I go to report, what exactly is going to happen? You know how justice in this country to some extent, when it comes to the people at the bottom of the pyramid, actually does work.
Yeah. I will tell you that, Amwai, it's been an issue, and a majority of people online have also been talking about this, by the way. Let me just go back to that particular one, and on that you will see a lot of trends, even on number 3 routes. The first tweet this morning was about how somebody was robbed in Karen as well.
Yeah,
just last night you saw that as well. Yeah, you will see that. But there has to be. It's like there's something going on.
Simba, people are not afraid of robbing you. People are not. They're not even being careful when doing that. They very confident, like they just walk to you, you're going to hide, but nobody cares whether there are cameras or not. People are not even checking to be careful. They're just doing it in broad daylight, and it's very sad.
I will tell you, Amwai, something needs to be done, isn't it? And there are a lot of guys who've been calling out the Nairobi County government just to make sure that everything is done properly. But I don't know what really needs to be done around this area. But anyway, to be safe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I had somebody, a community worker, and just somebody who deals with the youth in different parts of the country, of Nairobi rather, in the slum areas. And he was saying, let us have a conversation with the young men and women in this country, people who we perceive as thieves and probably dangerous to society. Let them have a conversation with the law enforcers here in the country and just find a way of getting to reach an agreement. I don't know how that is supposed to happen, because for me, this is the thing. I don't like it when people decide to take what does not belong to them. You understand?
That's true.
And by force, and also hurting you in the process. Because that person that you're planning to rob, you have no idea. This idea of just sitting down and thinking that the people that I'm going to rob have it all, people are struggling out here and trying to make the laptop that probably that is exactly what they use to actually, make ends meet in life. Maybe it doesn't even work at times. That phone could actually be one of the things that they use to actually, get their daily bread and things like that. And you want to take that away from them because you want to lower them to that particular level where you are. And you're assuming that you can't justify that. You don't take what does not belong to you, and there's no conversation that you can actually have on how to deal, on how you and I can reach an agreement on. No. I think it is very annoying to some extent just talking about these things.
And probably that's a question that Chris, our director, is asking. Is it, just quickly, just before we wrap up what is trending this morning, do you think the news about the disbursement of SSU might have sort of given the confidence
to some extent, and I think it lowered the morale of the
police officers. Is it today when the 5 of them are getting charged? It is today that one of their fate, isn't it?
It is today when you're getting together ruling.
And do you think we should have made that public?
I think making it public and lowering their dignity, that is where we made a mistake. Because I saw, and I remember talking about this this week, in Nakuru, there was a police officer who said, okay, we understand there are things happening, but when you get somebody who's coming to rob you and stab you and injure you, how do you deal with that particular person? Because if we decide to go full force for people who does not understand what humanity is, then the human rights groups will actually come out, and probably the government itself, and say, oh, we have rogue police officers and things like that. So how do you deal with that particular? There's also something also happening on the social network, whereby there's an officer who was telling, okay, if you get robbed, you just find a way of dealing with that particular thief you can lynch him or something like that.
Now, I'll tell you that. Anyway, be safe. Quickly, Amwai, in just 45 seconds, that's exactly what we have here before we take a tiny break again. Sabina Kiage is now telling Jubilee Party leaders to put their act together over Parliamentary Service Commission positions. She was complaining about how they left nothing to them. And this one, we're talking about cracks that are blocking Uhuru and Raila Party. Do you believe that she has a point to say? Or just shut up, Mom, and let
No,
this
listen.
go on?
Now,
You guys are collusion.
ODM has been accused of, being a little bit greedy by so many people. Even during the NASA time, you see, we saw ANC, Ford Kenya, and also Wiper just walking out and saying, by the way, ODM has been conning us to some extent. Now we are hearing Jubilee. So if we have that particular kind of tag on ODM, I think it's high time they sat down and figured out exactly how do they deal with the people that they come to work together with.
I'll tell you that. Anyway, we leave it like that for now. What I do know is that I'll be going for my tea break this morning, and my brand will be back with you then, taking you all the way to the newsroom and telling you exactly what it is we have. But I'll come back and join DJ Bona later on with Amwai as well, as we set a record. By the way, Kusereka, what is the meaning of the word Kusereka? Once we come back. And I do know today, Amwai Brand will be joined by Imagine at O'Hale. He's a dance creative and choreographer this morning. Maybe some of those things that we're going to say. Yeah, Niku party, yeah? All right, so once we come back, then I might...
I thought you said you were going to say I'm going to dance.
No, you're not going to dance. Here's the thing, we decided, I can't wait to come to your wedding and see how, what the song is going to be.
I have a list.
You have a list?
Discuss with the DJ
That's
exactly
fine.
how that is
That's
going
fine.
to Yeah.
We tumebook mchele bwana huku na hatukunywangi Fanta lakini tunakunywa maji na juice ya watermelon. Azee. Anyway, guys, we take a tiny break. Once we come back, Amwai will be taking you straight to the newsroom. I'll join you later on during the morning drift and look at business as we look into issues on how Kerry is sort of hitting misses in its tax collections. I'll be telling you how. But for now, let's take that break.
Welcome, you're watching The CEO. On this show, where we invite masters, captains of industry.
It's all about working in teams. Customers are happy, it's a good month, the markets are good. I mean, those are very exciting moments.
Ladies and gentlemen who tell us where and how to find money and put money in our pockets and how to go about doing business in the best possible way.
For me, I'm not serving myself, I'm serving community.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
It's handball. The military games are here. In the courts are different teams from the Defense Forces Handball Association, and their mission is to battle it out for the Chief of Defense Forces, Bora Cup, for the best formation. Action kicks off on Monday the 7th till Tuesday the 15th of November from 8 a.m. daily at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Team Bora Nigani, come witness the Handball Challenge Cup at its best. This action is brought to you by the Defense Forces Handball Association in partnership with the Kenya Handball Association. Lookuptv and Mudhingi TV are the official media partners. Ni mgaragazano wa wanajeshi.
All right, welcome to the Morning Drift, and thank you so much for staying with us here on the program. It is time for the news this morning. Let's get started. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a free man after the Anti-Corruption Court struck out a 7.4 billion shillings graft case against him. A senior principal, Victor Wakumile, granted the request by the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution to withdraw the case for lack of sufficient evidence. DPP also claimed it was under intense pressure to prosecute the case that Justice Wakumile has termed a misuse of judicial process. And as our reporter Henry Tende now files, all the 9 co-accused persons also had their cases withdrawn.
When the corruption case was instituted against him, Rigathi Gachagua, now the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, was very categorical that he is an innocent man being vilified for his political affiliation with his close confidant and now the head of state, President William Ruto.
He's on record for the 9 and 10 accused.
And today, the very office that had instituted the case against the Deputy President was before the Anti-Corruption Court with a request to quash Gachagua's case in its entirety. The office of ODPP and that of the DCI, in a twist of event, pleaded with the court to free Gachagua, arguing that the case lacked sufficient evidence to continue. The Hages-led office blaming the DCI under the former boss, George Kinoti, for doing a shoddy job. That request was granted by Senior Principal Magistrate Victor Wakumile, in essence bringing to an end a high-profile corruption case.
There being no objection to the substantive application by the prosecution to have the matter withdrawn under Section 87A of the Criminal Procedure Code, the application is hereby granted.
It is what transpired in the court that has got Kenyans with questions than answers. DPP, through its counsel, claims it was under pressure from unspecified sources to prosecute Rigathi Gachagua, even in the face of insufficient evidence. Was it political witch hunt, or his now acquired stature as the sitting deputy president had a major say in the collapse of his case?
We are no longer passive arbiters of everything and anything that is presented before us for adjudication. Never, in my view, should the judicial system be used as a stopgap measure or even a doormat. There is need to respect institutions.
In 2021, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was arrested and presented before the DCI office to have his statement taken in a graft case involving a 7.4 billion Kenyan shillings fraudulently received through 3 bank accounts at Rafiki Microfinance Bank. Or the 9 co-accused William Wahome Mwangi, Anne Nduta Ruo, Julian Jahenda Makaa, Samuel Murimi, Grace Wambui Kariuki, Lawrence Kimaru, Irene Wambui Ndigiriri, David Reuben, and a company Rapid Medical Supplies had their cases withdrawn.
The DPP, the DCI ought to have from the word go known that you cannot take someone in court in anticipation that you'll get further evidence. It is in constitutional right of every Kenyan, and every Kenyan is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty, and therefore taking someone in court with the anticipation that you will find some evidence is actually not only unconstitutional, but goes against even the very same spirit of our constitution to ensure the freedom of all Kenyans until may be found guilty.
Indeed, the freedom has come for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
All right, now thank you so much, Henry Tende, for that report. Moving on, 8 police officers from the disbanded Special Service Unit to the criminal investigation will remain behind bars for 21 more days. This is after the court ruled to detain them to allow the state to complete investigations. However, the court has released one of the officers on a cash bail of 500,000 shillings. Shada Kareria now reports.
The 9 police officers from the defunct Special Service Unit SSU being embroiled in disappearance of Ruto's poll expert appeared in Kahawa-based court for a bail ruling that never was. Kahawa Local Chief Magistrate Diana Mochache ruled that the police have proved that they are investigating a serious matter, which need time, hence detaining the 8 police officers for a period of 21 more days, allowing the state to complete investigations.
The 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9th respondents shall be detained at their current and respective police stations for a period of 21 days from the date hereof, so as to enable the investigating officers to conclude investigations.
Mochache, however, released the 7th accused, Francis Mwendo, on a personal bond of $500,000 Kenyan shillings. This is after the suspect's lawyer stated that his handwriting was forged, arguing that he was not on duty on the night of abduction of 2 Indian nationals and their Kenyan driver.
The 7th respondents were Father affidavit sworn on 1st November and filed the same on 3rd. At paragraph 3, he explains in detail his whereabouts on 22nd. He deposits that he arrived at Makindu between 21 hours and 22 hours. He further states that he spent the night at Kingston Hotel Makindu, Makueni County, where he paid 1,700 in cash. He states that after checking into the hotel, he never left until the following morning, 23rd, at 8:00 hours. The 7th respondent is released on a personal bond of 500,000 and shall report to the investigating officer as and when required. He shall not travel out of Nairobi without informing the investigating officers.
Mochache ruled that the 8 officers will be escorted for a DNA test, leaving the door open for the officers to have their own pathologist for a DNA result clarity, as the Defense Council had prayed to be granted an order of the same.
The respondents shall be escorted to the National Forensic Laboratory for provision of blood samples for purposes of DNA testing and analysis of the blood on the exhibits in custody of the investigators. 3. In order to safeguard the integrity of the process, each respondent is at liberty to have a pathologist of his choice during the extraction and testing of the DNA samples at their own cost.
The 9 officers were arrested after they were suspected of getting involved in the disappearance of 2 Indians and their Kenyan driver.
Ultimately, don't agree with the decision. In all the arguments we raised, just like the Supreme Court, none of the arguments was upheld. All of them were dismissed as hot air. The arguments of the respondents were dismissed, none was upheld. We have instructions to move to the High Court immediately today to challenge the decision of the 21 days.
Lawyers of the 8 police officers will be detained for 21 more days for investigation have now moved to the High Court to challenge the detainment decision of this court. Reporting for Lookuptv from Kahawa Law Courts in Nairobi County, my name is Shadrack Kareria.
Now, from the corridors of justice, we take a look at what is happening in Malindi. Now, Malindi family in Malindi, Kilifi County, is in shock and anguish after learning that their daughter's body arrived in the country from Italy more than a month ago without certain internal organs. Now, the family is crying for justice, saying that they need the government to look into the matter and help them come to terms with what happened.
Engulfed a family in Malindi after their daughter's body arrived in the country from Italy more than a month ago in what the family says the body had no internal organs.
Tulienda kachukua mwili, lakini mwili umeambiwa kwamba usifunguliwe. Na sisi wagiriama kawaida yetu huwa lazima tuone mwili. Manake tumesema tunataka kuona mwili wa mwanangu mimi. Siwezi kuzika kabla sijamuona. Tukasafiri kutoka Mombasa hapo, tukifika hapa Malindi, mwili ukatolewa nje na ukaanza kutazama. Ulipotazama nimeona huyu ni mtoto wangu, vile amekuwa kama sivyo. Tukiona macho hakuna, atolewa macho mtoto. Mambo mengine mishipa kama hakuna.
According to the family, the 36-year-old and a mother of one daughter, Amani Justin Luwali, had been living with her Italian husband in Italy since 2016, after which they got married. Family members claim that when the body arrived at the Star Hospital morgue in Malindi town, and was concealed inside a tamper-proof metal box, which they had to break open in order to examine the body, only to realize that her major blood vessels were missing.
Ulipofika pale ule mwili, kwa ufupi lile sanduku lilikuwa limewekwa katika hali ambayo ilikuwa ni vigumu, manake lilikuwa limefunikwa, lilikuwa na screws mwanzo mpaka walikuwa mfungue screws zote all round, na walipolifungua sasa ilikiwa open, wakagundua kwamba pale ndani kulikuwa na sanduku lingine tena ambao ni la mabati. Ule mwili ulikuwa katika hali ambayo si nzuri. Sehemu nyingi zilikuwa zinaonyesha kama kusonwa kutoka kusema sehemu ya kama ya hii miguu mpaka chini. Macho hakuna, ni kama vidude vilikuwa tu vimewekwa vya plastic. So na alafu kutoka sehemu hii hapa chini ya hii shingo mpaka chini kufikia hapa kwenye tumbo kulikuwa na hiyo kama kumesonwa. So tayari tukawa tuna suspect. Sanduku ilikuwa imefungwa vile na imekuwa sealed kiasi ya kwamba ni kama ni sifunguliwe tena.
The family reports that the body was flown to Kenya via the Mombasa International Airport under the directive of the spouse, whose identity is being withheld due to pending investigations, who strictly advised that the container carrying the body should not be opened. The distraught family claims that they learned about their kin's demise after a friend of the deceased from Italy called to inform them, claiming that the body of their loved one was discovered in her house. Lookuptv is privy to the report that the deceased had filed for a divorce, but the matter had not yet been concluded. According to the autopsy report, the body was found with bloodstains on the nose and mouth, and that the cause of death could not be determined due to the missing vital organs. The report has stated that there is a possibility that organ harvesting was done and that her uterus and bladder were intact. Director of the Haki Africa Group, Mr. Matthias Shipeta, has promised to assist the family in getting justice and has urged Kenyan and Italian authorities as well as investigative organizations to assist in determining what transpired to Luwali's body. Grace Mureithi, Lookuptv.
All right, we pray for justice for that particular family. Now, Machakos County has confirmed 11 cases of cholera outbreak. Now, Healthcare CEC Daniel Yumbia said 11 are admitted at the Machakos Level 5 with 1 in critical condition. Now, Yumbia attributed that 1 case was first reported at the Machakos School for the Deaf and 1 at the Machakos Prison. Already, the county has outlined stringent measures to curb the spread of the disease, including banning of food hawking in the county for the next 2 weeks. Active rapid response teams at both county and sub-county levels have been dispatched to implement response activities, enhanced surveillance, laboratory testing and case management, and also sensitization on environmental sanitation.
Food which is contaminated or water which is also contaminated. So what I want to say is that I want to give an update on the actions that we have taken as a government. One is that active rapid response teams are available at both at the county level and at every sub-county level. What we are implementing is enhanced surveillance to ensure that we get laboratory testing, case management, risk communication, and we are also engaging the community. And further, we want to assure the public that we are doing everything possible to ensure that we contain further spread of the disease. Number 3, we have also identified food and water quality surveillance, which is ongoing, and we are taking water samples which we have taken from various counties where the disease has been reported. We are urging the public to ensure that they adhere to stringent hygiene practices at all levels.
Now, President William Ruto on Thursday chaired his first meeting with his cabinet secretaries who recently took oath of office at State House, Nairobi. Now, the cabinet secretaries will be mandated with implementing the president's agenda through his first term. Ian Ketani reports.
William Ruto today led his cabinet in its first session after taking over office, with all the 22 cabinet secretaries in attendance. Ruto chaired the session at State House, Nairobi, amid serious concerns among Kenyans over remarks made by various of his cabinet secretaries in recent days.
First and foremost, let me welcome each and every one of you to this first cabinet meeting under the new administration.
Earlier in the day, Ruto also attended the annual general meeting for the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where he emphasized on the need to ensure more pathways are created for businessmen and women in order to increase production.
As it pertains to manufacturing, MSMEs must be supported to participate in supply and value chains through establishment of processing plants and common shared facilities. The cost of production must also be lowered significantly through lower energy and input costs and a more supportive tax regime.
Speaking during the meeting, Ruto indicated there are plans in place to start manufacturing cheaper smartphones locally, while assuring the youth that in partnership with county governments, more recreational facilities will be refurbished to support the creative arts industry.
Our tea, we are selling 95% of our tea in a semi-processed state. And I have said that we are going to have a common user facility in Mombasa at the Dongo Kudu complex so that we can begin the journey to add value to all our teas, create jobs, and access better value for our farmers.
The head of state assured the small-scale business and women in the country that his government will refurbish and modernize various markets to serve as manufacturing centers in a bid to boost their business and ensure production more consistently.
It is time to upgrade current markets to serve as modern manufacturing centers, complete with shared facilities for small businesses to enable them produce consistently at competitive rates. And I have committed that we are going to modernize our markets countrywide, starting with 20 markets in the city of Nairobi, to be able to ensure that our business people have habitable, decent, healthy environment to carry out their business.
On his part, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua decried the ongoing drought that continues to ravage across the country, urging various stakeholders to chip in and help those affected by the menace.
We are having a serious crisis because of the adverse effects of climate change. 4.3 million Kenyans are facing starvation. 2.5 million herds of cattle are dead. There is danger to wipe out our wildlife. And we are having meetings to look for short-term solutions, mid-term and long-term. I want to appeal to all of you to give a hand to the people of Kenya.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Now, we feature Ion Shafi in this week's episode of Born a Man. He juggles between being a fitness practitioner and other hustles so as to make ends meet. He paints a clear picture of what it takes to be a fitness practitioner, something totally different from what lives in the mind of the majority. He also narrates how he strives to meet his daily target as to be able to come in handy for his family. Here is Shafi.
It is believed by many that we hit the gym to achieve a perfect body. But for Shafi, it is a profession, a full-time job. In this week's episode of Born a Man, I bring you a story of beating odds to achieve one's dreams and aspiration. This is Born a Man. Ion Shafi is 32 years of age and a father of one. Shafi is living his dream and following his passion as a fitness practitioner, a passion that traces back to when he was a young teenager at 13 years.
I started fitness when I was 12 years, so I started with boxing, which I did until I was 19 years. Then I picked up rugby in high school. Then after high school is when I started bodybuilding. As a bouncer since I was 17 years. Yeah, I could do that because I had boxing skills and I was quite built. I did bouncer until 2017. Yeah, so that's when I traveled in Qatar. I got certified when I was in Qatar as a fitness trainer. Then I said, let me come to Kenya and try it out with my own people. So that's how it's been since then.
Certified in Qatar as a fitness practitioner and entrepreneur, Shafi has since dived into the art, making it a full-time business and setting his base here in Nairobi County. The man who now wears the crown of the current Mr. Fitness Kenya narrates his journey and how everything came to be.
Yeah, as I said, my first love was boxing. So I did boxing until I was 19 and was quite good at it. I started to push on with being a bouncer. Then my body, due to lifting and all that, started responding. When I did my first competition, I placed 5th in heavyweight category. Then I never looked back. Time is very important. We're all timed up, that's what I say. So I really have to use my time properly, you know, and quite try to be productive and be a mentor to those who are coming up.
For a majority, hitting the gym serves the purpose of perfecting the physical appearance. For Shafi, it's a full-time profession. He must stay fit so as to clearly accomplish his gym instructor job.
It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline. You know, you must know how to train your muscle in a balanced manner. You know, to build muscle without building fat. It's a lot of knowledge that you need to acquire throughout the journey and through experience. To build this body, I have to eat around 6 to 8 meals a day. My body is my business. I can't let it deteriorate. My long-term goal is about longevity. Coming out of all this healthy. Bodybuilding can be very dangerous also. You can get life-threatening injuries.
How sustainable is a job for a sole provider in the current state of economy?
It's quite a broad field and it's very lucrative if you can be quite creative about it. This profession has really helped me. I got a direction of life. Those people in the ghetto, they really look up at me and wonder. Now I'm the reigning champion, you know, they get hope.
What defines a man? Is it what he owns, what he does for a living, or how he looks like? Shafi gives us his perspective of what it takes to be born a man.
As a man, what defines me is about character and the family. First of all, I can say it's, my belief in God. It gives me discipline, avoiding drugs like alcohol, respecting people, being modest. Family second, then fitness. Those are the 3 things that really make me as a man. So bodybuilding, what I need to tell the society is a sport like any other. However, it's not an Olympic sport. It's something that is need to be embraced by the community. They should know that we are not dangerous people. Not everyone is on steroids, you know. Not everyone who is out to harm you. We're just friendly people trying to build a good body, live a healthy lifestyle, and try to earn a living alongside it.
Shafi prides in his profession, aware that as a man and provider, a higher task awaits him since his family fully depends on his hustle.
Lookuptv said all dreams are valid, you know. So you just need to be convinced about what you're thinking to become. Be convinced and be determined and chase it with all you got. And put God first and inshallah you can achieve it.
Shafi has already achieved quite a lot by the age of 32. He is focused on expanding himself further with the hope that there won't come a time when his profession will be rendered paralyzed. Cecilia Lubanga, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Right, now that is born a man. I tell you, that's a journey we try to take, some of us, and we totally fail most of the time. But I think we are going to, now that we are in the Know Everything November, I think it's time to think about that. So yeah, healthy living and all that, making sure that you stay fit for longevity in terms of health and all that is very important. So if you can hit the gym, do it. Right, I want to take a short break here. When we come back, we'll also be having a conversation on, we have a dancer in studio. He'll be joining us later on. And also DJ Bona is ready with quite a good mix for you so that you get entertained as we usher in the weekend. This is Kuserereka Friday. My name is Brian Amwai. See you in a few.